This video is going to cover chapter 10 in the Pure book, and chapter 10 in the book is all about solving trig equations. Okay, so just a brief introduction before we go through each section. So when we talk about solving a trig equation, it might be, for example, that we've been asked to solve sine x equals let's say a half, and then what we need to do is to find x. So the first thing you might want to do is to do sine inverse of both sides and something like this, and then if you do sine inverse of both sides, you'll end up with x equals the sine inverse of a half. Okay, now if I were to do that, just making sure my calculator is in degrees, this would be something that we do in degrees for now. That would give me sine inverse of a half, and I get 30. So it's basically saying the angle is 30 degrees. If I do the sine of 30, I get a half. But that's only half the story. In fact, there are lots of solutions. If I were to draw the graph of sine like this, and we've gone through this before, then it's going to go on like this, and you know this goes on forever in both directions, and you know that like this is 180, this is 360, and so on. If I go, this axis here is basically x, yeah, the angle, and I'm basically saying, when does this angle give me a value of sine x a half? Now that would be here, half would be there because we know the top is 1, so I suppose a bit lower. There's half. So basically it's telling me, well, actually all these places where that point crosses, that's where the sine of these angles equal a half, and there's actually one here, one here, one here, one here, and actually if I were to carry on drawing this graph of sine, there would be many others. Yeah, now my calculator has given me this value here, 30 degrees, but there's another one here. Can we work out what that angle is? There's another one here. Can we work out what that angle is? And so on. Is there a quick way of working out what all these other solutions are? So the first thing is that trig equations have many solutions, and we need a quick way of finding them all, or at least finding some of them. You know, what are the answers, what are the angles between 0 and 360 degrees, for example, or between minus 180 and plus 180. And the videos after this are going to show you how we can quickly find these other solutions. Our calculator will give us one. How do we find out what these other solutions are for sine x equals a half, or for sine x equal anything? Sine x equals 1, sine x equals 0.3, sine x equals root 3 over 2, whatever. Is there a quick way of finding these solutions? So the remaining videos, I'm going to go through each of the sections in the book, 10.1, 10.2, and so on. And there we're going to look at how we find these other solutions and what quick ways we can find them.